I talked to one guy in there for 14 years, the box breathing, and we went through gratitude. And he's like, dude, like things are happening even in prison that are showing me that things can be better. And it's almost like I'm creating these good things by just having these positive thoughts, which can be a gift. In his entire recollection of his life, he was able to create a moment where fear didn't enter into his thoughts and he had blissful, happy thoughts. It's amazing. I talked to one guy in there for 14 years and been listening to all that everybody come by his door and talk to him and try to coach him. And we kind of connected there. And I was like, man, I'm not here to talk about religion. I'm here to talk about what's going on inside of you and maybe give you some tools to help quiet the noise down. And he kind of looked at me weird and he's like, so what you got? Like, give me something. And so we went through the box breathing and we went through gratitude. And because it was simple, I didn't have a whole lot of time with him. And I go back 2 weeks later and he's like, dude, like everything's different. Like good things are happening to me in here just because I'm projecting good things into my mind. Things are happening even in prison that are showing me that things can be better. And it's almost like I'm creating these good things by just having these positive thoughts. So he's got his hands out, right? He's ready for more. And I was like, all right, well, let's take it to the next level. And I taught him a breathwork, Pranayama, and you basically flood your body with oxygen, right? So you breathe into your belly, you breathe into your chest, and then out through your mouth, and you do it all really fast. And it gets kind of scary because after like the first 5 minutes, your body starts to go quit, stop. All your anxiety starts to bubble up, and it's kind of scary. But then after about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on if you've done it before, the anxiety will flare up and then it'll just be gone. And it's like you can't have, as long as you continue to breathe like this, you can't have a fearful thought. And your body starts to buzz with energy, and you got to set a timer. You can only go 30 minutes, especially for the first time, because if you go too long, your body will almost start to get physically sick. Over time, you can do it for hours, and I do it for hours sometimes still. I do that quite a bit because it's fun. But I explain this to him, and I go back and see him, and he's just like, he's in another world. He's like, man, what did you do to me? How'd you teach me this? Like, he was giving me a hard time, but ultimately he was extremely grateful because it was the first time he was able to experience moments without fear, without drugs or alcohol. Like in his entire recollection of his life, he was able to create a moment where fear didn't enter into his thoughts, and he had blissful, happy thoughts that fear wasn't invasive. He wasn't talking about how bad he was, and he wasn't fighting all the demons, and he was just extremely grateful for it. And with somebody sitting in prison, that's a extremely powerful thing. You're left with nothing but time, which can be a gift. What's his name, the apartheid leader? He spent 27 years in prison, and after he got out, he basically reported back on his life years later and said that his time in prison was the most peaceful and calm moments of his life because the noise on the outside was too distracting. He couldn't go back to those peaceful places that people can learn how to find. Being locked up in prison became a gift for him because it was quiet. He got left alone with no interruptions. And going inward, yes, it quiets the noise. Yes, you could rewrite old negative core beliefs. You could find peace, but there's something way more in there than most people realize. There's as much going on the inside as there is out here in the universe.